Hey, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my video. So this is just a video about my trip from San Francisco all the way to Egypt. And I did this trip during Ramadan 2025. I was really excited to just explore the country and see what everybody was talking about. I had a couple friends who went to Egypt and then they did Umrah. So I kind of wanted to check it out. I wanted to experience a Muslim country during Ramadan. It was my first time out of the country, so this was really big for me, and I just wanted to show some pictures and videos I took along the way. So I really didn't know how it was going to be fasting in a different country and also trying to enjoy the country at the same time, but I ended up making it work, and it was a very humbling experience, and I learned a lot from the experience. It was a test of patience, but it was also very enjoyable at the same time. So I'm really glad I had this trip. Oh yeah, Turkish Airlines, yeah, they feed you pretty good on the plane. You get like three meals throughout that 14-hour flight. Yeah, it was a long flight, and you can kind of see where you're at in the world. I was just excited the whole time. Yeah, for most of the flight, I was able to sleep because it was pretty empty. So I was able to sleep on like 3 different chairs. But then towards the end of the flight, I was able to move and get a window seat. So I was able to see the descent when we made it and touched down into Istanbul. Istanbul airport is very big, and it's actually really nice. You can almost get lost in there how big it is. My layover in Istanbul was about 3 hours long, so I didn't really have a chance to do much except find the prayer room and go make a 2 rakat prayer. Then I had a 2-hour flight from Istanbul to Cairo, so it wasn't that long. And when I got into the Cairo International Airport, I bought my visa. I went through customs, and they were speaking to me in Arabic there. There was a bunch of guys trying to offer me taxis outside. I think everybody thought I was Egyptian, which was kind of funny. Yeah, and then after that, I met up with my boxing coach.
This brother here, man, what this brother doing in Egypt, man? Who is that?
trying to experience Ramadan out here, man.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
That's bro, man, over this way, inshallah.
As soon as I got into Egypt, I met up with my boxing coach, Coach Bilal. Then we went straight to this Egyptian restaurant called Ibn al-Sham. It was really nice. We had some chicken shawarmas, and I met up with some of his boxing students there. It was pretty cool. I was just really tired after the flight. Ended up staying up all the way until Fajr time. So I was really tired, but I was getting a good first experience of Egypt. And yeah, here's the local masjid. We went there a lot. After all of that, I finally ended up getting to go to sleep, and I ended up sleeping all the way until 3 p.m. the next day. Yeah, I was really tired after that long day of traveling all the way across the world. Yeah, and so here's a picture of me looking jet lagged, but I'm actually surprised that I was able to fast that day. And actually, I woke up around Asr time, and I ended up going to the masjid again. Here's just some pictures of the surrounding neighborhood around Bilal's apartment. There's actually 2 masjids which were like 5-minute walks away. After the prayer, we went to the mall, and we met up with Coach Bilal's fighter. His name is Monster, or Abdul Khalid, and we just chatted. We went to this little coffee place. Yeah, at this point, I was starting to realize, the language barrier. buying stuff. You know, the guys are speaking Arabic and stuff. So, but yeah, I was making my way around. I had to get some Egyptian money also. That was one of the things. Yeah, this is one of the stores nearby, near the apartments.
It's how you walk the Fajr in the morning. Egypt. They wonder why I come back to America and just be sitting stuff down and hurting people. They think I'm just out here eating shawarmas.
Shawarma.
I should call this is a shawarma right here. When you whip it up under, then you fake it under and whip it over the top. See what I'm saying? If you can trick them, you can beat them.
Alright, so yeah, it's March 4th, and this was going to be my first real day in Egypt. The plan was to go to the National Museum of Cairo. Here's a couple pictures of just the traffic out there. The traffic was just crazy, man. That was one of the things that it took me a while to get used to. It was like a culture shock. You see them dudes right there in the back?
Where?
In the back of that car right there?
Yeah. Man, it must have been an accident or something, bro. But they getting out the car.
Yeah, another thing that I had to get used to was, yeah, the traffic, like I said, and then the way they drive is crazy out there too. They don't put their blinkers on when they merge lanes. There's no stoplights, there's nothing like that. So it's kind of feels like chaos at times, but the people, they make it work. So what ended up happening that day is that we got to that museum and it was actually closed, unfortunately. So I think it was around 3 p.m. they closed the museum because of Ramadan. It's getting close to Maghrib time around that time. So yeah, we ended up going to this little gift shop instead, and we were just looking around. I bought some oils. Yeah, and then I had to cross the street. That was a crazy experience. The way you cross the street in Egypt is a certain type of science also, so that was definitely culture shocking. Yeah, so after the gift shop, we ended up taking a little pit stop at this like abandoned mall you can see here. Well, it still has a little bit of shops in there, but most of the stuff is kind of old. And we needed to charge our phones, and we needed to pray Asr. And then there was this guy that came up to us while we were charging our phones, and he kept asking us for like a little tip, like I think about 10 pounds, which is probably the equivalent of like 20 cents here in America. But yeah, he kept asking for it. Eventually we gave it to him though. It kind of shows you how, you know, poor the country is. The guy was going crazy. He was like really adamant about getting, or I think we gave him 20 pounds actually. Yeah, he was adamant about getting 20 pounds, about 50 cents here in America. But it means a lot out there.
All these restaurants are running now. That was another option. We could have done iftar on it now.
Yeah. So at this point, we were looking for a place to do iftar. It was almost Maghrib time, and we went to this little hotel, and it was right in front of a view of the pyramids. Yeah, so this is my first time seeing the pyramids. It was at this little hotel, and it was really fancy. The place was really nice, but we didn't end up eating there. Yeah, it was too expensive. So after realizing the place near the pyramids was way too expensive, we tried another spot, but it ended up being closed. At that point, I was starting to get a little impatient. I just really wanted to eat something after a long day of fasting and being in a whole nother country. Alhamdulillah though, we stumbled across this place called Ryan's Cafe, which you can see here in the picture, and it turned out to be a nice little find. I got a chicken sandwich and a mango drink. It's pretty simple, but honestly, it just hit the spot after fasting all day and then waiting for so long to finally get some food. It was just nice to just sit down.
The foreigners,
Yeah.
they use America to make money. That's what they do. Make money in America, spend it in another country.
Here's some of the brothers that go to the local masjid over there near the apartment. There's a couple kids that are Palestinian refugees, and we got to see them a lot. Like every Fajr, I would see these kids there.
لا ما اسمه هو اسمه وحشي بن حافظ لا هو
بس مش وحشي
هو وحشي
لقبه وحشي
هو وحشي بس هو اسمه انا بقول له
Now, this is my second real day in Egypt. It's March 5th, and I wanted to fast again this day. And our plan was to try to go to see the pyramids this day. We wanted to get up close and personal, take some pictures, and try to get some promotional footage also. After about a 45 to 50 minute drive all the way from New Cairo to Giza, we made it to the pyramids. If you ever plan to go to the pyramids at any point, you should know that there's a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of people, or hustlers pretty much out there that are going to try to sell you stuff. They might try to sell you merchandise, different things like carriage rides or tours around the pyramids. And you have to look out for, people who might be trying to get over on you. There was this guy who was really adamant about giving us a horse carriage ride. And eventually we took it, but you just have to negotiate your prices and stuff and, be firm about these. They'll try to get over on tourists. It's a very tourist heavy location, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, keep that in mind and try not to let the hustlers and stuff ruin your experience of being at one of the wonders of the world. It's just a crazy place to be, man. Yeah, the carriage ride actually turned out to be pretty nice. We got to see the Sphinx, we got to see all 9 of the pyramids. There's like 3 big pyramids and then there's a bunch of smaller ones. So yeah, honestly, you just have to see the stuff in person. Here's just some more cool pictures we took while we were there. And the plan was to get a little bit of promotional footage for International Boxing Institute and actually be international.
Yeah, man. We want to bring people together across all international lines. We want to unify people, man, all over the world. So we want to take young people from Oakland and bring them to places like Egypt, bring them to places like Saudi Arabia, Mecca, Medina, bring them to Africa, bring them to China. We want to take people from China, bring them to America, people from Taiwan, bring them to places like Senegal, people from like Senegal, bring them to places like Mexico. What we want to do is organize with all the people in the world, bring all the people together through the art of boxing. So that's what we want to do. Watch your back. Camel. Okay, we don't want to just run into that camel. But, this is the kind of things that happen, man, when you're moving international. You might get ran over by a camel. So you gotta. But yeah, the purpose of the International Boxing Institute is just to bring people together worldwide, from Africa to America to South America to the Caribbeans, Asia, China, Vietnam, Taiwan, Thailand, Hong Kong, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Kenya. I could just go on and on.
We got to sit on top of the pyramids too. This is a picture of that. Pretty cool, man. You feel like you're a pharaoh when you're on top of them pyramids. Even though I was fasting and my mouth was super dry the whole time. The next day, March 6th, we were both really tired, so we didn't do much that day except book our flights to Saudi Arabia. I'm late for prayer.
لأنه لا فهو سر بينك وبين من افترضه عليك كما جاء في الحديث كل عمل ابن آدم له إلا الصوم فإنه لي إضافة تشريف.
That's a lot of people.
Get you a picture, probably.
So this was nice. It was my first Jummah in Egypt at Masjid al-Azhar, which is one of the most historic masjids in Egypt. You should also know that there's a lot of poor people outside of some of these historic masjids, and if you're going to give zakat or a charity, you should just be mindful of how much you're going to spend. And they might mob you, so be careful. But it's always an opportunity to just get some more blessings, especially during Ramadan. So this was March 9th. One of my goals in Egypt was to buy a bunch of clothing, a bunch of thobes and Islamic clothing. So we went to the thobe store here. This is a picture of one of the guys that worked there. So the other goal of this day was to try to go to this masjid called Salahuddin Masjid, but what ended up happening is the masjid was closed when we got there. So we ended up getting a little bit of a tour around a bunch of other masjids around Cairo. So when one thing doesn't work, another thing opens up. Alhamdulillah. So the first stop on the tour was the Masjid of Imam al-Shafi, and this is also his shrine. He's the founder of the Shafi school of thought. After we went to Imam al-Shafi's masjid, we went to Masjid al-Nafisa, and we just took a picture outside of it right here. Then we went to Masjid al-Ruqayya, and we went inside, we prayed 2 rak'ahs in there. And then we went to Masjid al-Zainab, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and we prayed 2 rak'ahs in there. It was very beautiful inside of that masjid. In total, we prayed at about 4 masjids, or we visited 4 and prayed in 3 of them. Yeah, it was a great experience. Just, there's so many masjids out there, and it's an easy place to be a Muslim there. And here's a picture of a McDonald's billboard for a Ramadan meal. Thankfully, I don't think we had iftar there that day. I think we might have went to like a Chinese restaurant or something near the apartment. Yeah, they have Chinese restaurants in Egypt. The next day was a pretty chill day though, because we did a lot. And one of my missions was to buy a bunch of hijabs for my mom, my sister, and people back home. So that's what I ended up doing.
The one and only Monster Abdul Khalid. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Slip and weave, rock and roll, Umar, slip and weave. Clean break, clean break, clean break. Nice.
Now, this was my last day in Egypt, March 11th, and we finally got to go to that museum that we weren't able to go to the first day on March 3rd. Yeah, so the museum was nice. They had a lot of pharaohs and mummies and a lot of historic stuff from ancient Egypt. And I ended up meeting a brother. My brother, his name is Abdul Rahim. He wanted me to take a picture of him at first, but then we exchanged contact information, and he's from Yemen, and we've been keeping in touch ever since. He's also an engineer, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been making international friends and stuff. This was a great trip. Inshallah, I'll be going back to Egypt sometime soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but yeah, alhamdulillah, it was a great trip. I just want to say thank you to my boxing coach also for traveling with me. But stay tuned for the next video, because we're on the way to Saudi in this picture.